Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Isaac. Have you heard of this game? Remember, we did win the last one. It was a dream. Hold on, that's Tainted Forgotten. 2 Blue Baby. The question, like I played this game for 3,000 hours, the question marks throw me for a loop every time. I'm like, I've never seen that before. Okay, I love Tainted Forgotten because he's just crazy, right? Like this is the throwable character. This is the Yeet Lord. The Yeet Lord himself. I recognize you don't have to pick up and throw through the doors. I will learn that. I mean, this is my kind of guy right here. He's a wild and crazy guy, Steve Martin. Anybody? I mean, I'm not even familiar with the origination of wild and crazy guy. I'm only familiar with the fact that that's a thing that Steve Martin said before he became known to my generation as, Queen Latifah's husband from the 2003 comedy Bringing Down the House. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one. Maybe yes, maybe no. Anyway, we get out of the curse room for free, which is nice. I don't believe... I have never seen Bringing Down the House, but I did see the ad, the trailer for it, played in front of Mr. Deeds, which I did see in theaters, for sure. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't have any smack to talk about Mr. Deeds. I did watch that, actually, within the past year and a half. I went through a phase, you may remember if you were here, where I watched a lot of movies. I don't know, like, psychologically, I'm sure Sigmund Freud would have something to say about it if his, you know what, wasn't dead. But, like, after having a baby, I resorted temporarily to a state of, like, juvenileness myself. Like I returned to the media that brought me comfort when I was in middle school. I don't know what that says about me as a human being. Maybe just, revisiting my own childhood while figuring out, how not to screw up somebody else's. Maybe something along those lines. But either way, I learned some things. Like, for example, Mr. Deeds, good movie. All right, let me rephrase. Okay movie, not as bad as I had thought when I was like 12. When I was 12 and I was just becoming a snob, it was a slap in the face. Little did I know, in light of how far Adam Sandler slid down in the years following that, that's really what makes Mr. Deeds feel that much better, I think, is the fact that you're like, well, at least it's not Jack and Jill, right? Like we've come a long way since all these movies were released, and I gotta give Adam Sandler like a reasonable amount of credit, to be honest. By the way, he is great performance in Punch Drunk Love, but also like a truly, in my opinion at least, an incredible performance in Uncut Gems, which is one of the best movies of the last 10 years. So nothing but respect for him as an actor and a performer, and I have to admit, even his least funny movies are probably funnier than, like, the average person by far. Now, that's not really the metric that we should, judge people or judge films by, I'm sure, because, you don't get, like, 7 billion of them coming out every year. That being said, keep in mind, as I criticize Adam Sandler, that he is substantially funnier than I am. I mean, how could he not be? Created in the crucible of, early 90s Saturday Night Live, A Life Lived in Entertainment. That could be the title of his autobiography there. No, he'd call it something from the albums. It would be called, like, They're All Gonna Laugh at You. I hope. Okay, we get 1 free devil deal, apparently. You know what? Can I just tell you something? I think I gotta be the change I want to see in the world. Incredible. Really, really cool. Let's go for Angel Deals. They did us a great service last time. I completely forgot why I brought up Mr. Deeds, just to be clear. Do you have a movie from your childhood or your adolescence that you always watched, like, at the end of school? There's, like, 4 from my childhood days. Now, keep in mind, I was in elementary school from, like, I don't know, 1993 until 2002. I was in high school from 2002 to 2006. First grade through like 5th grade, every year we would watch Milo and Otis, which, you know, they didn't tell us as kids, but apparently has like just a horrific history of its production. So, you know, I mean, it was a sad movie to watch at the time. Like, to this day, I don't know what percentage of like my own projection of my emotions onto the feelings of animals that may or may not have the capacity for things like that. Like sometimes I'll give one of the cats like a little bit too much food by accident, and in my head I'm like, oh, I bet Tomo is like in his head right now. He's like, I must be the least favorite cat because I got slightly less food. I'm like, no, man. I'm pretty sure he just like smells that and goes, oh, food. OMG, me too. You know? But it was always Milo and Otis. Treasure rooms now contain devil deals. They really want me to go for the devil deals here. And then around 6th grade, Armageddon came out, 5th and 6th grade. And from that point on, every year, I guess at the end of the day, I have to realize that my school probably only had like 4 VHS tapes in the library. Maybe one of them was Armageddon, one of them was Milo and Otis. So we watched just a staggering amount of Armageddon. And then also, like, as a bronze medalist, we watched a lot of this movie that I think was called Wild America. Ironically starred Devon Sawa, who, you know, is most famous perhaps for Final Destination, I guess, but also is Canadian and appeared as a supporting cast in Fred Durst's directorial debut starring John Travolta, The Fanatic. Now that's a classic. In high school, though, we watched some pretty sick movies. As insane as this will sound to you, inevitably, I think I saw Dumb and Dumber 2 times in high school. I saw once in geography class, where genuinely we just had a teacher who did not know what they were doing. They were hired to be, like, our volleyball coach. I mean, this is my reasoning. I've never heard this confirmed, but they didn't seem to have a lot of passion as an educator, but were very heavily involved in the athletics side of the school. Let's put it that way. Right? This is actually kind of tough to fight an angel statue like this. In that class, we watched Pearl Harbor, Dumb and Dumber, Dante's Peak, the Pierce Brosnan movie about a volcano. You know, I think I'm just gonna put this on top of you. It's getting a little insane. So we watched Dumb and Dumber in that class. I also, believe it or not, watched Dumb and Dumber in French class. Again, I don't know how universal this is, but for some reason, and this is not a joke, I watched both Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls in French class. Our school must have just gotten like a discount on maybe because Jim Carrey's Canadian, they made a lot of, like, you know, French copies of the VHSs and then distributed them to Canadian schools. I watched both of those movies with Jim Carrey dubbed over in French. It's weird to think about. Thank you. Thank you. That took forever. I don't want to do that again. Did I go to my item room on this floor, though? I don't think that I did. I did not. Okay, so that's our item room. That's the Sword of Damocles. Okay, I think I'm gonna drop this, this trinket. I know it's gonna screw us on this floor. We're not gonna be able to get one. Get an item, that is. But, like, I just don't see that being the sauce that we need here. I think we gotta move onwards. Okay, take me in. Best movie I watched in school? Now, that's a great question. I never took, like, a film studies class. So the real answer is I haven't seen that many, like, filmy type movies, at least in school. Those were all extracurricular. We did watch The Matrix in philosophy class in 12th grade. But I think I was actually sick that day. We watched Troy in ancient history, and we were gonna take a field trip to watch Oliver Stone's Alexander until the reviews came out, and it was apparently like one of the worst movies ever made. Angelina Jolie, Colin Farrell. I think we watched Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade in that one as well. Dude, that was a good class for movies. I learned a lot in that. That was like the opposite. I had a teacher that was like exclusively hired for academics and was not involved with the athletic side of the school at all. I remember, like, in 12th grade, she had taken, like, 11th to 12th grade off for maternity leave. And then when she came back, she was like, you know, you're leaving the school this spring because you're graduating. Like, what are you going to school for? And I said biology. And she just gave me a look like she was disappointed in me. And I was like, you know, what's her problem? Little did I know she was right. That being said, I don't know, like, if I'd gone to university for history. I mean, I had a strange idea of what history was, I think, when I applied for university. I thought it was like, what, I'm gonna get a job, like, telling people when the Battle of Hastings was? Didn't realize, you know, it runs a little deeper than that. It's not exclusively, you know, recalling dates. A large part of it is actually being quoted in Netflix documentaries, giving those weird interviews in very dark rooms, where you, well, actually, Alexander the Great wore a purple sash. Many people don't know this, but Adolf Hitler invented the spaceship, you know? You do stuff like that. Okay, Angel deals, man. Any second now, Angel deals. Any second now. What are we on? Depths 1? Depths 1. You gotta be careful. This is like a deceptively fast character. This is like when you get off of the freeway and you're in the merge lane, and the sign says, like, you know, you can only go 60 kilometers an hour in the exit lane, the off-ramp. And you think to yourself, well, how fast could I possibly be going right now? Like, this feels like 60? Then you look down at your speedometer, and you're like, 110? That's crazy. Like, this character is fast as frick, man. I knew it was gonna happen, and yet I just couldn't muster the self-control to stop myself. Help me get away from yourself. Trying to think. Movie day was always the best, man. I'll be honest with you. Even as a teacher, movie day was like the best. It might be the best for the kids, but it's the best for the teacher as well. You know, I'd roll in that incredibly archaic, you know, cart with it's got a little TV on it, then like a bunch of open space. I don't even know what you do with that open space. And then you get to have like Bill Nye from 1996 teach a class in 2010 instead of me doing any work. Like, that's the dream. Then afterwards, I get to be like, you know, ask you questions to make sure you were paying attention. What color was Bill Nye's bow tie? Bill Nye's on the brain because he was in an episode of Sesame Street the other day, talking about what you need to do to be a scientist. Do you want to know? I think you gotta ask questions. You gotta ask questions and then observe things. That's basically it. I learned a lot as someone who has a degree in the sciences, but never worked in the field. I was like Peepo-G'ing. I was like, write that down. Write that down. Okay, the run is good, and we're uniquely well positioned to take out this boss. Wouldn't mind getting a little extra, you know, like damage out of it if possible. It'd be nice to get a good angel deal here. I would say, well, I don't really want to see a devil deal, honestly. I guess if we get, like, garbage items, we can just suck them up with black runes. So there's a lot to like here. There you go. There we go. That's what we're looking for. He's even blocking the incoming shots. How dare you? Range plus luck. Honestly, like, I'm not totally sold on that one. I'm gonna become like a real psycho, okay? Believe it or not, I'm not gonna pick up Immaculate Conception. Because first off, it's like in order to get a benefit out of it, you have to pick up 15 hearts, which is very difficult as a character that only picks up blue hearts. Even though there was an Eternal Heart back there. I mean, if we got 15 of those, I'm not going to complain about not getting Sister Maggie, right? Then the Familiar has to be good, which is already like another leap of logic. So I think we're just better off getting like 2 stats ups here. I'll take it, man. And then, you know, if I gotta take my range luck, I gotta take my range luck so I can settle down. My speed. I'm not joking, though. Like, for real, Sesame Street is actually, like... It's the caviar of children's television shows. I actually sometimes, like, will be watching the show. You know, they air 1 episode a day at 3 a.m. local time, so I got it hooked up on the DVR. Full dad strategies here. And all, like, my daughter will not be paying attention. She'll just be, like, trying to, you know, turn the lights on and off or something like that. I'll just be watching it. I'm like, man, what's going on in Elmo's world? The only part I don't really like, and I'm being genuine when I say this, I don't know if anybody else out there is watching Sesame Street right now. I don't like when Elmo talks to Mr. Noodle. I just think it kind of freaks me out. I know it sounds like a double entendre, but, like, Mr. Noodle is, like, a guy... He's, like, maybe he's Elmo's neighbor, or he just is kind of like a guy who lives inside of a painting in Elmo's house. And then Elmo will say something like, hey, Mr. Noodle, can you show me how you water your flowers? And then he'll do something ridiculous, like take out a bag of flour and pour a bunch of water on it. And then Elmo will be like, not like that, you stupid moron! I want to be clear. I actually enjoy the part where Elmo, like, cyberbullies Mr. Noodle IRL. I don't enjoy Mr. Noodle himself. I just find him kind of off-putting. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, this is an entity that was created, you know, to be derided. It's like, it's cursed. It's like it shouldn't exist. It's an abomination. Mr. Noodle be looking like that guy from 300 that sells out the Spartans to Xerxes, you know? And Elmo's kind of like Xerxes. He's like, this is Sesame Street. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, there's a complicated interplay there. So, Mr. Noodle, I just, like, I don't have, like, a weird, like, you know, anti-clown agenda or anything, but, like, Mr. Noodle is just kind of... He's my least favorite part of Sesame Street. The rest of the show is insane, though. The hooks go hard. Teaching kids how to recycle and stuff. I will say, you gotta remember when you're watching Sesame Street that, like, you're an adult and the show is literally for babies, right? Because, like, they were doing the recycling episode and they went to a recycling plant and they were sorting things, like, by whether they're glass, paper... or plastic. I swear to you, one of the guys, one of the puppets picked up a plastic soda bottle and went, "It's see-through. It must be glass." And I almost, like, I felt like how my viewers must feel when they see me lose in Mario Kart. Like, I wanted to put my fist through the screen. Like, what are you talking about? Just because it's see-through doesn't mean it's glass. Many things are see-through. Glass, plastic, you know, air, water. You fool, you idiot. And then they went, oh, you know, no, Rex, no, that's, look, plastic is glass, but lighter. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's specifically true, but you know what? That might be a reasonable heuristic to sort your recycling by if you're literally 3 years old. So I gotta try to take myself out of it sometimes. I guess that's all I can say. Dude, I had a sobering moment yesterday when I picked up my daughter from daycare. I don't know, it's just little kids, right? But, like, when little kids say full sentences that are weird, it's creepy. So I picked up my daughter from daycare. She was just, like, not walking, but, like, standing up, supporting herself on, like, a little, like, planter, I guess you would call it. You know, the daycare worker was right there. And she had some other kids around her, and one of the kids... names changed to protect the innocent, just came up to me. Like, she's like 1.5, right? Or well, she's older than that, I guess. She's probably like 2.5. She just came up to me and went, "She forgot about you. She forgot about you." And I was like, what the heck? Is this like, are you actually like 1,000 years old and you're issuing some kind of like prophetic omen for the future or something like that? I'm sure what actually happened is that, like, you know, for the first time at daycare, she didn't cry all day. So the daycare provider was like, "Oh, you probably like forgot that we're not even your real family," or something like that. And then the kid was like, "Yo, she forgot about you. She forgot about you." And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, I just came here to pick my daughter up from daycare. I didn't expect to undergo like a psychic assault. I was like, oh my god, she forgot about me. What the heck? Oh, wait. Whoa. I don't even know what this does. Just take it, man. What the heck? Hold on. Am I a genius? Can I even do this? Okay, just hit me for a sec. Dude, honestly, yeah. Like, these bone hearts are straight up worth nothing. So if we can just find a way to, like, lose them all to get Rate of Fire. Admittedly, Rate of Fire is also worth very little to us, but if you can't pick up red hearts, bone hearts are kind of garbage tier, quite frankly. They're not worth very much. So instead, I'll just take my, like, Colossal Tears upgrade and be on my way. Seems like a pretty good return on my investment, quite frankly. She forgot about you. She forgot about you. Is this allowed? Is this allowed? So anyway, that's literally every anecdote from my life forever. More or less. Covered it all. Daycare, school. All the movies I've ever seen in my entire life, etc., etc. That's about it. It is I always forget, like, the most audacious thing about America, without a doubt, is the fact that one of their most sacred holidays, Thanksgiving, takes place on a Thursday for no reason, right? Like, I don't know if you're American, maybe you've never thought about it. Maybe you're just like, oh, Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday. Yeah, but, like, why? I just don't understand. Like, of all the days that you could make it, why a Thursday? I get the idea that that allows you to have, like, a 4-day long weekend. But, like, you could also just... Like, there's no higher order dictating that all Thanksgivings must be on a Thursday. Like, there must always be, like, a Stark in Winterfell. I realize, like, we're gonna see our in-laws for American Thanksgiving. But then people were like, what? You're going to be live tomorrow? You're going to be live on Thursday? Thursday's Thanksgiving. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I hope that, like, you know, the pilgrims that were born that day or whatever, like, are okay with the fact that we're just going to, you know, celebrate it on, like, Saturday instead. Because that's just, like, substantially more convenient when you're dealing with, like, you know, 4 adults with kids and, like, jobs and stuff like that who live fairly far apart. Like, I don't get it. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, were they like, oh, there's going to be an awesome feast and it's not going to be, like, combative at all? Hey, look at this. New item, glass eye. And the Lord decreed that the feast shall be on the 4th Thursday of every November. You know, like, it's just such a weird day to make the holiday. I'm not saying it's, like... Why not just have it be like Easter, right? Like Easter, the holiday, I don't even know what day it is, but you get the whole weekend to celebrate it. Thanksgiving, people act like the Thursday is like a sacred day. Now, admittedly, I'm holiday-splaining as someone who doesn't really observe American Thanksgiving, except when it benefits me. Excuse me? It said health up, but it was health down. Funny prank. Funny prank, we lied to him. Consider yourself subverted. I'm not that upset. We're actually doing really well. Plus, we're playing a fun character. But, it just... I don't know. It just seems audacious to me. Maybe Canada has its own example that I'm just, like, you know, blind to at the present moment. But this is a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun here. Thank you, Holy Water, for saving me. Help me get away from myself, for example. I'm not being a hater, okay? I'm glad you got a 4-day weekend for it. I don't think anybody on Earth would be like, oh, you know, Americans don't get enough time off from work. I mean, like, you know, Pete Buttigieg took like 2 months off to be with his newborn baby, and people were like, you know, why does he hate the country? I think it's good that you get the 4 days. I think it's weird that you have to like create an awkward justification for it. Like, no, the turkey day is always on Thursday. Turkeys just taste better on a Thursday. Like, just take the day, King. You deserve it. You don't have to be so weird about it. Nobody's judging you for taking a 4-day weekend in November. Look, nobody's getting any work done at the office anyway until, like, you know, second week of January. Take as much time as you want. Oh, 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 you can't hit what you can't see. You can't, there we go. Okay, saved. Are you kidding me? It's probably my bad. He walked into my blind spot. Like Cairo Sejiro. Nope. What the? Okay, get me out of here. This is actually, like, it should still be a very easy win. But there's always a little, you know, risk built in at this point. When you've only got 5 HP, like... I don't know if the Spirit Heart spawning rate got nerfed or whatever, but, like, it does... Just to me, I'm sure I got a little washed as well, you know what I mean? Like, washed up. But, I do feel like the Spirit Heart only characters are harder to win with than they've ever been before in Earth's history. Like, Spirit Hearts are just not as forthcoming as they used to be. They used to, I mean, I'll admit, it must be frustrating, you know, sitting at home. You made this game that's, like, you know, punishing. People complain about it a little bit. You make it easy, and then you're watching them, like, walk into the shop, and they're not even, like, paying attention to the game, and they're talking about ridiculous stuff. Like, hey, what's the worst movie you ever saw, like, for your school? For me, it was probably Pearl Harbor with Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck. I will say, I've told this story before, but it's one of my favorites for sure. When we watched Pearl Harbor, there was a kid in our geography class who, there was not even a lovemaking scene, but just a scene where I think Ben Affleck and Kate Beckinsale kiss, and he groaned and covered his eyes. Now, when you're like, you know, 10, maybe not even 10, maybe like 7, that's funny. But when you're like 14, come on, man. You're just like, it's not like everybody else in the class was going like, see you, get in there, Ben. You know, everyone was just, you know, we were just watching the movie, like, you know, like being normal. But he was like, I refuse to perceive this. So I always think back to that, and I'm like, I hope he's doing okay, don't get me wrong. It's not like a negative mark on his character, but I'm always like, I hope he's doing all right. Just a funny kid story. You know, kids are at such different places. You know, you ever watch the Maury Povich show? You got some kids, they're like 14 years old. They're, you know, having a kid. And then you got some kids that are 14 years old that can't even look at like 2 Hollywood actors kissing without getting grossed out. It's a very, even though they've been on the earth for like almost the same amount of time, they're in very different places. Owned. Now, woe be it for me to say that someone that's on the Maury Povich show was further ahead. Most of the time you find yourself on that show, it's like, please let everybody laugh at your terrible mistake. It's not guilt-free entertainment. That's like a genuine guilty pleasure. What if, oh my god! Dude, Soul of Bethlehem with a stationary boss and Tainted Forgotten is actually cracked. You see the speed with which we were outputting damage there? Like, that's insanity. That was like the best cathedral we've ever had. Okay, 2 amazing runs today. Maybe I'll even, oh, this is rare. Maybe I'll even run one more back. Oh my god. what a rip, man. Maybe I'll run one more back after this just to make sure that I'm like statistically guaranteed to experience an annoying run, and as a result to lose all this goodwill that I built up. How does that sound? Sounds good to me. So as you might expect, we picked up, I think it was Hemolacria, or maybe it was Cursed Eye, but we picked up one of those. Our rate of fire fell drastically. However, a fully charged shot, look at this, does some serious work. Okay, that's kind of cool. Like, get ready for this. Yeah, that's kind of awesome, honestly. All right, more of this, please. People might say you're just enjoying this run because you're winning. Well, that's part of it. But, like, also, I mean, there's, like, a catch-22, right? Like, it's very hard for me to be like, I played well on this run because we got good items. But we really did. Like, we weren't handed a win with respect to our HP. Even as recently as, like, a floor ago, we had a much smaller amount. We had, like, 5 hearts or something like that. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but we should be okay. You know, some of the runs where it looks like I'm only winning, I'm only having fun because I'm winning. I'm only winning because, like, I, you know, brought my A game. I'm not saying this is the case here, but I'm just saying two can play that, you know, observer bias game. You're not the only one, you know, who falls victim to logical fallacies and heuristics. Owns? Okay. Honestly, like, don't even need it. Don't waste my time. Yeah, don't have too much else going on, honestly. I mean, it is the season, right? Like, I don't know if this is the season where, like, a lot of stuff goes on for you, or the season that, like, nothing goes on for you. For me, I'm enjoying, like, life returning to normalcy. It's really felt like since my daughter turned 1, it has been like a non-stop, like, once a week, you know, there's some kind of not even if not a major event, because it's really just life, but like some kind of like a fire needs to be put out, or there's something that desperately needs attention that was unexpected. And it had been like that for like 2 months, and then like over the last week and a half, like really after I started getting over, you know, the 3rd instance of daycare sickness, I've just been allowing myself to settle into a period of being busy and having, like, at night, a little mundane boredom. Which is bad for the anecdotes, but, like, extremely good for the soul. after a long period of, you know, and then I don't mean to make this sound like it's my wife nagging me. It's more like real life will be like, oh, by the way, this has to be done with the car. I know we forgot about that, but how are we even gonna get the car to the shop when we also need to have the car available at this time and this time to be able to pick up our daughter from daycare? Oh, by the way, she can't go to daycare today because, like, she's got a sniffle. And then it's going to be like a holiday tomorrow, only it's not really a holiday. And then, like, look, I'm not complaining saying these are, like, you know, untenable things in life. Like, this is literally just the sum total of, you know, the minor annoyances that make up a life well lived. That being said, I'm also enjoying, you know, one of the greatest feelings is when, you know, my wife will ask me on, like, a Friday and be like, do we have anything this weekend? And I'll be like, I don't think so. Do you think so? And she'll be like, I don't think so. And I think we both just kind of utter a sigh of like, oh, thank God. Knock out that Tiger King season 2. And I know people that are like 22 will be like, that sounds so sad. Oh, what do you have going on this weekend? Sitting in a terrible wooden chair for 8 hours, drinking $8 pints and saying the same stories over and over again, but increasing volume to the same, like, 6 a-holes you hang out with every Saturday, then waking up at noon on Sunday feeling like the world is spinning, and then you have to, like, you know, wait in line for an hour to go get a $20 brunch just to feel like a human being again. Wow, those were the best days of my life back in the summer of '69. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!